So today I'm making one of my favorite meals, a reverse-seared ribeye steak. Okay, so we'll be making a delicious ribeye steak today, and as you know, ribeye comes from the cow. It's the same part as the prime rib, so it comes from the rib of the cow. So prime rib and ribeye actually come from the same area in the cow. Now you have aged ribeye, which is very expensive. That means it's sat for a lot longer, but this one we got from Costco, so you know, just as good. So we're gonna season our meat with some rosemary, garlic, thyme, and sea salt. And of course, we make sure we do this to room temperature, okay? It's very important that you season your meat at room temperature, meaning take it out of the fridge and let it sit for at least 60 minutes or so. And that way the seasoning can really sink into the meat. Now, one of the things you can do, you can season it and then put it in the fridge if you want, but just let it come back to room temperature before you're going to cook it again. So what we're going to be doing with this particular meat is we're going to do what we call a reverse sear, which means that we cook it in the oven for on low heat for at least 90 minutes or so, and then we sear it in a pan. So just make sure you season all sides. These are about, I would say, 2 inches, you know, thick, and about maybe 1.5 pound ribeyes. These are really good, and these don't have the bone, okay? So a lot of times when you buy ribeye, just know you'll have the ribeye with the bone. And when you see it, the long tomahawk is what we call it. It's just basically a ribeye also. So just make sure it's well seasoned. A lot of salt. If you have black pepper, you can do that also. We just don't have any right now on hand. So I like to use coarse sea salt, okay, when I'm doing steaks this size, because it really gets into the meat and into the crust. And these are all fresh herbs that we're using from the garden also. So now I'm gonna put this on a foil rack. I don't have our foil rack, so we're just gonna make one, okay? So when we put it in the oven, we want it to cook evenly. We're gonna put it in there uncovered, no foil, you know, because we're gonna sear it later. That's why it's a reverse sear. So just get the foil out of your head. Now I'm making dinner for my sister. Her new boyfriend is a vegan, so I decided to make steak, you know. No, I'm just joking. Listen. Well, not really, but all right. So put this in the oven, and we put it in there about 250 to 275, and let it go. And then there you go. We make it rest a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and get our pan ready. Normally we would use a cast iron skillet, but I do not have my cast iron skillet with me, so we have to use this fry pan. Just make sure the heat is really hot so we get a good sear on there. So a little bit of oil. With the cast iron, we wouldn't really need that much oil. That's why I love it as more than, say, a fry pan. But again, we work with what we have. So you go ahead and leave that on for about a minute or so, and then we just give it a quick flip. As you can see, it's got a nice crust on it now. Now these, I can tell you, are going to be probably medium well. Now, you know, most of us Caribbeans, we don't eat it medium well. Everybody wants theirs medium well for some reason. I don't know why. But I'll be putting mine back into the oven. Or what you could do, you could just let it cook longer on the sear. But I like to let it cook like this and then put it back in the oven for a little bit more. And that way it still remains juicy. So we're going to go ahead and add our herbs. Aromatics is what we call it. And this is again from the farm. This is just thyme. And I would normally add some more garlic. I don't have any left. And rosemary and some butter. That's it. You know, because all the flavor is in there. That's one thing with the ribeye. The ribeye holds the most flavor out of all of the cuts of meat to me because of the fat content it has in there and the marbling. And we're just going to give this a quick baste. This is just means you just take the butter and you want all of the herbs to come out and, you know, flavor up the meat. And then we make it rest. Now, this is very important if you want it to be juicy. You have to let it rest for at least, I would say, 10 minutes, okay, before you slice it. And then here we're going to just give this a slice. And like I told you, this should be a medium well. And there you go. See? Medium well. Now, our medium well is always closer to well, but it's so juicy. I could tell you this is one of the most tender steaks you're ever gonna eat, ever. You'll be thanking me later. So I wish I had a camera to show my sister's face when she sees what I made for her for for dinner. But you know, sibling rivalry never ends. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and more importantly, turn on your notification. One love.